the world's top 10 healthiest seafood choices, with a big surprise at number 1. If I told you that the healthiest seafood on earth isn't salmon, tuna, or any of those glamorous names you constantly hear in advertisements, would you believe me? Yes, that's right. There's a type of seafood that many of us walk past in the supermarket almost every week, yet we hesitate to buy it. Some people think it isn't fresh. Others feel it might even be unsafe. But the truth, backed by solid research from respected institutions like the Harvard School of Public Health, the World Health Organization, and the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch Program, is that this overlooked food deserves a place in the spotlight. Today, we're going to walk through the top 10 healthiest seafood choices in the world. By the end, you'll not only have a safe seafood map in your hands, you'll also know how to completely avoid the traps of heavy metals, microplastics, overuse of antibiotics, and all the shady sides of the seafood industry. So grab a cup of tea or coffee, settle in, and let's start our countdown from number 10. Number 10, oysters, nature's zinc powerhouse. Now let's play a little game. When I say the word zinc, what foods immediately come to mind? Maybe beef, pork liver, or perhaps expensive protein powders and fancy supplements. Well, those aren't bad guesses, but the efficiency is actually quite low compared to one very humble food. The ancient Romans called this food the milk of the sea. Napoleon Bonaparte considered it his secret weapon to maintain stamina for long campaigns. Just 1 or 2 servings of this seafood can give you an entire day's worth of zinc, and that's not all. Ounce for ounce, it contains 7 to 8 times more zinc than lean beef. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi nutrition manual, doesn't it? I'm talking about oysters. Yes, those same oysters you've seen on the half-shell at restaurants or stacked in ice trays at grocery stores. People love them for their delicate, ocean-fresh flavor, but they also fear them. Concerns usually fall into 3 categories: parasites and bacteria from eating them raw, heavy metal accumulation from polluted ocean waters, a general sense of oysters are risky. But here's the good news. Modern aquaculture has changed everything. High-quality farmed oysters from clean waters are now carefully purified using ultraviolet light or filtered seawater before they ever reach your plate. This drastically lowers the risk of bacteria and viruses. And unlike large predatory fish that live for decades, oysters have short life cycles. That means they simply don't have enough time to accumulate dangerous amounts of mercury or other heavy metals. Nutritionally, oysters are loaded with zinc, selenium, and vitamin B12, nutrients essential for immune strength, nerve health, and energy. That's why oysters earn a strong place at number 10 on our list. They're not just a luxury appetizer. They are, in every sense, a true powerhouse of vitality. Number 9. Atlantic mackerel, especially canned. When you think of canned foods, what comes to mind? Probably high salt, preservatives, and a lack of freshness. Many people, especially in traditional cultures, turn up their noses at canned products. But let me challenge that idea. There's one fish, commonly sold canned, that actually delivers more nutrition than many fresh fish you'll find at the market. It's compact, affordable, and a nutritional treasure hiding in plain sight: Atlantic mackerel. Here's why it's on our list. A small mackerel has more calcium than a cup of milk, more iron than spinach, and protein comparable to a steak. Its omega-3 content blows many other fish out of the water. Now, why do we emphasize canned mackerel and especially small-sized mackerel? It comes down to the biggest rule in seafood safety. The smaller the fish, the safer it is. You see, mercury builds up in fish as you climb the food chain. Big predators like swordfish, king mackerel, and large tuna accumulate dangerously high levels. That's why the WHO advises pregnant women and children to avoid them. But small mackerel? Short lifespan, lower on the food chain, and minimal mercury risk. And the canning process actually works to your advantage. It locks in omega-3s, softens the bones, so you can eat them for extra calcium, and preserves the fish at its peak freshness. So the next time you see those humble little cans of mackerel on the supermarket shelf, don't pass them by. They are a budget-friendly superfood, earning their spot as number 9, the canned champion. Number 8, mussels, the ocean's natural filter. Now let's tackle a surprising contender, Mussels, sometimes called blue mussels. At first glance, you might think, wait a second, aren't mussels dirty? Don't they filter water and eat tiny particles? That sounds risky. It's a natural reaction, but it's actually the opposite. Modern rope farming methods raise mussels suspended in clean, flowing seawater, not in the polluted mud at the bottom. That means they are far removed from heavy sediment contaminants. The water quality in these areas is also strictly monitored to ensure safety. Nutritionally, mussels are stars. They're among the richest natural sources of iron, manganese, and vitamin B12, critical for preventing anemia and supporting a healthy nervous system. They also contain a fair amount of omega-3s, though not as much as fatty fish. Best of all, they're usually very affordable compared to other seafood. That's why mussels confidently claim number 8 on our list. Number 7. Wild Alaskan salmon. Here we are at the big name everyone expected, salmon. But here's the twist. Over 90% of the salmon you see in sushi restaurants and supermarkets isn't wild at all. It's farm-raised Atlantic salmon, grown in crowded pens, often treated with antibiotics and fed artificial colorants to give the flesh that appealing orange-red look. Farmed salmon does contain omega-3s, but the levels vary and the purity is questionable. So, what really deserves a place on this list? Wild Alaskan salmon. Alaska has some of the strictest and most sustainable fisheries management systems in the world. Wild salmon there, particularly sockeye and king salmon, grow naturally, feeding on krill and small fish. This gives them a perfect balance of omega-3 to omega-6 fats, firm muscle texture, and a deep natural red color from astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant hundreds of times stronger than vitamin E. It's not cheap, but when you want the real deal, wild Alaskan salmon is absolutely worth it. That's why it lands at number 7. Number 6. Alaskan pollock, the white gold of the sea. Now here's a surprise. One of the healthiest fish in the world is also the fish behind McDonald's Filet-O-Fish and Burger King's fish sandwiches. That's right, Alaskan pollock. Why is it so trusted, even by global fast food giants? Because it's clean, consistent, and abundant. Pollock live in the icy, pristine waters of the Bering Sea. They're small, fast-growing, and have very low levels of mercury. Pollock is also a lean protein powerhouse, high in protein, low in fat, and rich in phosphorus and selenium. While its omega-3 content is more modest compared to salmon, it's still a very well-balanced food. So the next time you see Alaskan pollock listed on an ingredient label, don't dismiss it as just filler fish. It's quietly one of the ocean's healthiest and safest protein sources. That's why it proudly takes number 6 on our list. Number 5. Squid, octopus, and cuttlefish. At number 5, we celebrate the tentacled wonders of the sea, squid, octopus, and cuttlefish. They make our list for 2 reasons. Outstanding nutrition. They're rich in high-quality protein, selenium, phosphorus, and vitamin B12. Fast life cycles. Most squid and octopus live only 1 to 2 years, meaning they don't accumulate much mercury or toxins. Grilled squid at a summer fair, octopus in Mediterranean cuisine, or stir-fried cuttlefish at home. All of these are not only delicious, but also among the safest seafood options out there. That's why they earn number 5. Number 4. Anchovies, the tiny giants of nutrition. At number 4, we find a seafood that rarely gets respect: anchovies. Tiny, salty, often used as toppings on Caesar salad or pizza, they're usually treated more like seasoning than food. But nutritionally, anchovies are absolute superstars. Omega-3s, gram for gram, they can contain more omega-3s than wild salmon. Just a few little anchovies meet your daily requirement. Purity. They feed on plankton, live short lives, and sit at the very bottom of the food chain, making them among the cleanest fish available. Whole nutrition. We usually eat the whole fish, bones and all, which means we get calcium, iron, zinc, and more. Anchovies may be small, but they are mighty. Don't underestimate those little fish on your pizza. They are nutrition bombs, earning number 4. Number 3 and number 2, Pacific herring and sardines. Now we reach the twin stars of the seafood world, Pacific herring, number 3, and sardines, number 2. Both are schooling fish, small, oily, and foundational to the ocean's ecosystem. Their advantages are almost identical. Incredibly rich in omega-3s, often more than farmed salmon. Extremely low in mercury. Packed with vitamin D, calcium, and B12, especially when eaten whole, bones and all. So, why do sardines edge out herring for the silver medal? Sardines have a slight nutritional edge in omega-3s and vitamin D. Sardines are more widely available worldwide, especially in standardized canned products. That makes sardines not only a nutritional powerhouse, but also one of the most practical, affordable, and accessible seafood options on Earth. Number 1. Any small fish that's flash frozen at sea. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. Number 1 isn't a single species of fish, it's actually a method. The healthiest seafood is any small, low-mercury fish, like sardines, herring, mackerel, or pollock, that's been flash frozen right on the boat.
Why?
Because freshness is the final, critical factor. Once a fish is caught, its cells immediately begin breaking down, and omega-3s start to oxidize. Fresh fish lying on ice for days may actually be far less nutritious than one frozen within hours of being caught. Flash freezing locks in nutrients at their peak. When thawed properly, the fish is as close to just caught as you can get. In fact, a properly frozen sardine has more nutritional integrity than a so-called fresh salmon that's been sitting on ice for 3 days. That's why number 1 goes to flash frozen, small wild fish. It's not just about what species you eat, it's about how it's handled. Final takeaways. So, here are the rules of thumb for choosing healthy seafood for yourself and your family.
Choose small, not big.
Small fish equals less mercury. Prefer wild over farmed. Wild fish are usually cleaner and more nutrient-dense. Don't fear canned seafood. Canning often locks in nutrients and makes bones edible for extra calcium. Don't worship fresh. Flash frozen fish is often fresher and healthier than ice-stored fish. If you keep these principles in mind, you'll never feel confused standing in front of the seafood aisle again. So, the next time you go shopping, remember, health, safety, and nutrition don't have to mean expensive or rare. Sometimes the greatest treasures are sitting quietly in a can, waiting for you to rediscover them.